Good evening, everybody. This is Mike Tedesco of Wrestleview.com.
And Victoria Tedesco.
All right. How's everybody doing tonight? Well, I can't. I'm not going to hear from anybody, but I know I'm going to hear from Victoria. How are you doing, my dear?
I'm doing well.
You're doing well?
Yeah, I'm doing well.
Well, that's good to hear.
Yeah. Happy 30th post-Raw
show. Happy 30th. Yes. This is our 30th episode of the WrestleView post-Raw show. I wish that we had a better Raw to talk about.
I know.
But, you know.
We'll still make it a fun show, like here, even though.
It's going to be, we're going to have a great time tonight.
Yes.
It's our 30th show. We love round numbers here. And, man, it's gone by fast, I have to say.
I have to be honest with you.
Done this?
Yeah, I really, like, when you look at it overall, it's amazing to think about how quickly it's gone.
I know.
It feels like, even though we went through those, like, long, like, crappy Raws, it's still amazing to think, like, we're here and how fast it's gone.
I know. It really has gone, like, extremely fast. Even though you're right, we have sat through some truly, some of the worst Raws maybe ever since the mid 90s. Maybe since like the 1995 Raws, 94 Raws.
Yeah, but like
those
before
were bad.
The Attitude Era and stuff. Yeah,
all the stuff before that. Yeah, those were pretty bad. But I mean, I would rank those December shows up there as the worst of anything.
Oh, I agree, and I think anybody else would agree with you too. Honestly,
I'm sure there'll be some dissenters out there. Of course, there always are. There's always somebody who's a contrarian out there. But let's say hi to these people.
Okay.
Not that these people be contrarian to us. We have Andrew Elder in the chat tonight. We have CJ Bowman. He is here. Yes, sir, you missed a meh show. We got Quentin Walters here. Sweet Louis Varaldi. He's here.
Yes.
Looking very very fit, and it's got he ordered like he put on his what was it? His Facebook account, like just stacks of red meat. Like it was the craziest thing. That's what he's going to be eating this week. It's just total red meat, no carbs.
So funny.
That's some real dedication right there. We got Kit Dyson in the room. Did I say Quentin Walters already? Let me say Quentin Walters' name again. Hello, Quentin. Welcome. Quentin didn't join us right at the start of the show last week, so we were concerned. I was getting ready to send a search party out for him. We have Jamel Watson in the room. Hello, Jamel. And, of course, Taker Rules, a.k.a. Roy Nemmer. We got a celebrity in the chat room tonight.
Roy's in it?
Roy has
Hello.
like, he's like a verified like Twitter user because he's like really famous and in like his soccer realm.
No, but like
pretty cool.
This is cool to have Roy in here because Roy is like that mythical creature. You're like, oh, he's appeared.
Well, it's not quite like his brother Paul, but yes, quite. And Paul only comes out to do the Saudi Arabia shows with me, so I guess we'll be seeing Paul like end of April or May or whenever they do the celebrity stuff. It's it's good.
Well, thank you everybody for joining us.
And I have to say, the numbers always go up when Paul Nemmer's on a show, so I'm always happy to do stuff with Paul Nemmer. He's always good. Yes, Roy's trying to be humble right now and say he's not a celebrity. Oh,
Roy, you're a celebrity.
How humble. I love it. All right, everybody. Well, 30 episodes down now. Well, we got to get through this one first.
Yeah.
So I think we just got to start talking about Raw.
Well, before we do that.
Yes.
See what the Twitters think, and then you know how we do like the Twitters.
Oh,
and
yes,
the Twitters
yes.
At the end of the night.
Let's see what the Twitters are saying about this Raw. I have a bad feeling about this. Okay. All right. Here we go.
Okay.
80% thumbs down.
Yeah, I'm not surprised.
I don't know if it's 80% thumbs down. I mean, it's not an all-time worst Raw or anything like that.
Yeah, but
I mean,
it doesn't have to be the all-time. It doesn't have to be December shows, but people have to like the show.
There were things to like about this show, though.
There for sure.
Definitely were. Oh, of course, Billy Hefner in the chat room. Hello, Billy.
Hi, Billy.
He's the man. Yeah. 80% thumbs down right now. Let's talk about it. There definitely were some good things on it. Mm-hmm. But, when you hear that WWE is going to be in Chicago.
Yes.
Now that is, I would put Chicago right behind New York as the best markets for wrestling in the world, I would say. WWE is obviously originated, it got its big glory days in New York. So I always, and we're a little biased, but Chicago's like right there. Chicago's gotta be number 2. And usually when they're there, they get a great show. It's always good. The crowd was definitely alive tonight. At the beginning of the show, it was loud as hell there.
Loud.
I was expecting I guess I was expecting a little more than we got. Maybe that was foolish of me, but I was a little disappointed by the offering that they had tonight. But let's talk about it. So Raw kicks off with Brock Lesnar coming out, and he comes out to massive boos from the crowd. Massive boos. It was like one of those nights when the crowd is trying its best to not let the bad guys talk.
Yeah.
Not quite Vicky Guerrero and John Cena that one time, which was just incredible.
Oh my gosh.
That really was like... That's
Beyond.
all time heat.
Mm-hmm.
Well, honestly, that Elias thing that happened a few months ago. What was that? That was when he was still with Kevin Owens. I think that was in September or something like that. It had to be September. That sustained booing for like 10 minutes in Seattle was incredible.
That was incredible.
Where they couldn't even talk. This wasn't quite that, but it was pretty darn close. Every time Heyman picked up the microphone, they booed him down. And Lesnar was he looked like he was having an absolute blast. I love, they kept booing. They wouldn't let Heyman speak. So Lesnar just holds up the title, gets even louder boos. It was awesome. That was a great way to kick off the show. Finally, Heyman introduces himself. Ladies, gentlemen, things that live in Chicago. And man, I was like, just based off of that first 3 minutes of the show, I was like, crowd's hot.
Yeah.
This is a pretty damn good segment already. Mm-hmm. This is going to be a good show.
Right.
So Heyman says that this appearance was necessitated by Seth Rollins because Seth Rollins has spun a tale of Shakespearean, no Heyman-esque propaganda, which is what a great line. And he talks about saying that Rollins said that his client has a stylistic problem with competitors of Seth Rollins' size and moveset. But what happened when AJ Styles faced Brock Lesnar? Lesnar won.
Yeah.
Yes.
Oh, you wanted me to respond?
I was asking you, yes.
Oh,
yes.
Sorry.
What happened when, my dear, what happened when Brock Lesnar faced Daniel Bryan?
Lesnar won.
Yes, he did. What happened when Brock Lesnar faced Finn Balor?
Lesnar won.
That's right. And now Rollins wants to pick a fight with Lesnar on the same night he has to fight Drew McIntyre, who is a career killer. Not a career killer like Brock Lesnar, but a career killer nonetheless. What in the world is he thinking? So already they're positioning Drew McIntyre, who had an excellent night, by the way.
A fantastic night. Absolutely.
They're positioning him already at the start of the show. You can kind of see where this is building. Now that we know how the show ends, you can see they were really kind of building him up.
Yeah.
McIntyre comes out, says he's finally getting the recognition he deserves. He brutalized Roman Reigns last week. He brutalized Dean Ambrose, and now tonight, Heyman should start looking for a new opponent for Lesnar because after he brutalizes Rollins tonight, he won't make it to WrestleMania. And that sends out Seth Rollins, who sneaks up from behind, cracks him with a steel chair. And I wish I had a gif of Lesnar's face. I was looking for it, and I couldn't find it. And then I kind of gave up, and I forgot about it.
It'll probably come up tomorrow at some point.
Oh, Lesnar's face was great as he was watching Rollins smash him with a chair. It was, I'm gonna look that up. But in the meantime, Rollins killed McIntyre with a chair, got in the ring, and Lesnar ran off. Great segment to open up the show.
Absolutely.
Lots of boos, lots of heat, and man, there were like burn it down chants. The crowd was doing the things that the crowd is supposed to do.
Absolutely.
Supposed to boo the bad guy who does have real heat.
Yes.
And you're supposed to get behind the baby face in the title match. And they were behind Seth Rollins every step of the way.
I agree.
He's not a difficult baby face to get behind.
No, definitely not. I agree, though. I think there's not a whole lot to say about this just because overall it was really, really good. And every person who came out had a purpose and they did their job and the crowd reacted to them, like you said, the way that they're supposed to. Mm-hmm. So overall for me, this was really an A+ segment because it just, the intensity between everybody, the sneak attack, Heyman taunting the crowd, Lesnar with the title, and Drew getting, his 2 cents in and everything. Like, everything just kind of unfolded and panned out the way everything and it was a great start to the show. It really did intrigue and pique your interest, and to think like this is gonna be a great show because the crowd's into it, everybody's into everybody who's coming out. I loved it.
Yeah, it was definitely a lot of fun. I thought the camera was on us before I was scrolling through my browser the entire time. Sorry, everybody, but I'm trying to find this damn Lesnar picture, and it's so great.
Why don't you give a little treat for tomorrow?
Well,
did you find it?
No, I did not. Unfortunately. I typed in Brock Lesnar face and nothing came up, so I guess that's that. Anyway, that was a great opening segment. I was like, man,
yeah,
we might be in store for a good show tonight. Mm-hmm. We got Finn Balor coming out, and, what a atrocious promo. I mean, I just...
Yeah.
There's no other way to put it. It was just, hey guys, I'm Irish.
They try to include St. Patrick's Day and just...
And I'm Irish, and I didn't have the luck of the Irish on me, and by golly, I'm just a big stereotype now.
Yeah.
It was...
I don't know where, like, they jumped ship with him. Like, I don't... What do you think was the moment where they were like, nah, never mind?
Who knows?
Like, I would just love to get, like...
I don't, who knows if they ever got behind him? It's like...
I think they did, though, for a hot second.
Almost. And he actually had a really good showing at the Royal Rumble, to the point where I was able to get behind him. He had a
lot of people did.
He had a decent promo with Vince McMahon in the ring, and went back at him, and nothing came of it. He lost to Lesnar. Then the next day he came out and basically said, well, I'm not as good as Lesnar. I deserve to lose, pretty much. And that was that.
Yeah.
I guess, well, I mean, see, I think we got it in the chat room here. Roy wants Balor on SmackDown or something, which, okay.
Yeah, no, that's actually not a bad idea.
Jamel goes, just have him throw out potatoes at people if you want to go full stereotype. It's like, good Lord.
God.
And I think CJ hit the nail on the head here. WWE realized Balor was uncharismatic, which he is. There's no doubt about it.
Yeah, no, I agree with CJ on that one.
Severely lacking there. There really is.
Yeah. What a shame, though. It really is.
But then again, it's very, very difficult to have a good showing with the stuff that they give. I mean, like this Irish garbage, like they've been moving towards, and I talked about this on the podcast on Wednesday with Doug, that they've been moving towards this more like realistic style of speaking. And I was kind of, on that show, I was kind of going on about how I love the way Rousey delivers her promos. And in fact, Batista kind of did something similar, which we'll talk about later on in the show. I like that they've been moving towards this, but it's only for certain people, and then the rest of them just get the same garbage every week. And this was garbage. Happy belated St. Patrick's Day, Chicago. Oh, the luck of the Irish is not on my side last week when they lost the Intercontinental Championship to Bobby Lashley.
I'm not going to lie, that was the worst Irish accent I've ever heard in my entire life.
I have the worst Irish accent ever, which stinks because my ancestry DNA test came back, and I am a good... I'm not,
You're a good portion of,
a good portion of Irish. I'm about a little over 25% Irish.
I'm sorry.
I don't have it in me.
You don't have the accent.
But he says, this stubborn Irishman doesn't plan on being a former champion for too long. And that sends up Bobby Lashley and Leo Rush. They go with the leprechaun jokes, and this is just going off the tracks real quick.
Yeah.
But it just leads to Finn Balor revealing his mystery partner to be Braun Strowman, and then that's where it got fun again. Yeah,
that exactly. The moment that he was included in this, it just completely turned it around. Yeah. For me, at least.
Yes. My God, I could watch Braun Strowman toss around tiny guys like Leo Rush all day long. So much fun.
I never imagined when he first came and we saw him at that SummerSlam, we're like, who is this guy?
Yeah, we saw Braun Strowman debut in 2015.
That he would be like this good comedic like individual, you know what I mean? Like he is honestly he has the so much potential to be like this ultimate like baby face. And it's just like moments like that kind of prove tonight that he fits into that role. Just got to be consistent with it. You know, that it was.
Yeah.
He's just awesome.
Yeah, he's good. He has his moments. I mean, he's had quite a few moments lately where, you know, the crowd's been quiet when he comes out.
Yeah.
He really lost a lot of steam.
Oh, well,
and when
yeah,
they
absolutely.
and when they took him out of the championship match at Royal Rumble, even though, you know, apparently it was planned that way, and, you know, they just said Braun versus Brock to get people into the arena, but they had no, they were never going to give you that match. That really, really, really hurt him, because actually Braun was kind of gaining a little momentum.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, the face turn, the heel turn, and then the face turn, you know, all in rapid succession, very much derailed him, no doubt. Mm-hmm. Cashing in Money in the Bank over the summer and turning heel to do it, and then not actually, the match ends in a no contest, and that's it.
Yeah.
This total kissing your sister crap, that didn't work out. So they've done a really good job of booking him into an absolute hole, and he's still, you know, it's still like then they'll give him a good segment of him destroying a car. They'll release a toy of him destroying that car.
Yep.
And then he has a match like tonight where it's like, oh yeah, I remember Braun Strowman actually can be really fun.
Exactly. That's why I enjoyed this.
This was just a ton of fun.
It was fun. I when you tweeted out about it just being fun, that I think that was the perfect word to honestly describe it. And there's really nothing else that you can say about it other than that.
I mean, look at how much air Leo Rush got on this. Wow.
I'm really impressed by him.
I love Leo Rush.
I really, really am. He's another one who, like, pleasantly surprised me with just his whole personality and his, you know, in-ring ability, too.
Yeah. Actually, he had a really good showing against Finn Balor, what was it, 3 weeks ago?
Yeah. Or
nothing came of that. But
yeah.
I'm just watching him toss Leo Rush right now. So much fun. Well, what happens anyway is Bobby Lashley winds up thinking, you know, considering to himself that the heat, you know, you can't stand the heat, get out of the kitchen. You know, he got out of the kitchen on this one, and he walked off on Rush, and Strowman killed Leo Rush with an emphatic running power slam for the win. So Finn Balor and Braun Strowman are victorious this night. Fun, innocuous little match. I actually really enjoyed it, and I was like, you know what? This was a really good first half hour of Raw. Really good. And I just thought it was going to get better. Totally thought it was going to get better. And it did kind of get better. It actually got a little weird, too.
A little weird.
With this, Ronda Rousey comes into the arena with her husband, Travis Brown, only to be confronted by referee John Cone. Now, apparently, is the face of the authority in WWE. No more Stephanie. No Vince. No one can control her. Except John Cone, I guess. I don't know. He walks up to her and he goes, total straight face, "You're late." It was, I was like, what? And he goes, "You're late. And in addition to that fine of an undisclosed amount," like he talks that way, "WWE management has increased security." And Ronda just keeps walking with Travis Brown. Travis Brown gets involved in the action later on tonight too, which was really cool. But man, John Cone, I was like, what? It was weird.
I think Stephanie's still away. I'm pretty sure.
Yeah. Apparently Finn Balor has to get on like a one-way trip back from Abu Dhabi to get to Chicago, but Stephanie can just kind of lounge out in the skyscrapers at the UAE. Fun. That stinks. The next two segments actually stunk, so we'll skip them and go back later on. Okay. The big news of tonight. The news everybody's been waiting to hear. Since it was announced last week.
Oh, God.
Unceremoniously, not even at not the 9 o'clock hour, not the 10 o'clock hour, the 10:15 hour. Kurt Angle announced that he is retiring and his last match is going to be at WrestleMania. His opponent was not named. Now everybody speculated John Cena. John Cena's got to be John Cena. It's the one that made sense. I called it on this show last week, and then when I was talking with Doug on Wednesday, I started thinking, it's gonna be Corbin.
I don't like how you got smart.
It's gonna be Corbin, and Doug said no, and Kurt Angle made the announcement. Of all the legends.
Okay. We have to be truthful with the viewers. Okay. We do.
Okay. Be truthful.
And we will be truthful.
Okay.
I had to miss part of it because I was initially of the segment. I was doing some laundry and I was doing stuff around the house. But you come in and you go, they announced Kurt Angle's opponent for WrestleMania. And you go, and you're like, the legend. And you're like, just take a guess. I'm like, John Cena? You're like, no. Nope. I'm like, oh, okay. I'm like, Undertaker? No. I'm like, Shawn Michaels? No. And then and I'm like,
all the legends that are sitting out there.
I'm like, can you give me a hint, please? Rock. And he's like, Baron Corbin. I'm like, really? And then I watched the segment again, just like had to see how everything kind of transpired.
I actually had to send out the tweet on the Wrestleview Twitter, and I said, Kurt Angle announced that he is facing Baron Corbin. This is not a joke.
Please, this is no...
The crowd immediately booed.
Oh my God, when I saw that.
Booed.
I had to go back to... Obviously, I trusted you. I knew that you were recapping. I knew you weren't going to lie to me about something so heinous. But it honestly, like, the crowd really turned on that. Like, it was just... You know what it is? Everything that you've been saying these past few weeks, like, makes sense. Like, why is Corbin still wearing his attire, like the corporate attire? Why is he? Well,
he's wearing that. He's wearing that because he has a horrible body.
But maybe it wasn't you. Maybe it was like CJ, I think, actually, who said something about like, well, if that's whole corporate theme, then it's like he has to go along with it if he's going to have a match against Kurt Angle because he screwed him over during his general manager position.
He screwed him over anyway, and they never really got it settled. In fact, they did have a match on Raw, and Corbin embarrassed him and beat him handily.
But can we just have real talk for a second?
Yes.
You approach Kurt Angle.
Yeah. Their approach to
Kurt
Angle.
This Hall of Famer, this legend, a man who has done so much for the WWE, and they tell you your retirement match is going to be against Baron Corbin.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't have any backlash from that? You don't, like, are you, like, is Kurt Angle that afraid to speak up because he's just gotten the good graces of the company for the past few years? Or is he truly happy that it's Baron Corbin?
Yeah.
I just try to imagine that
the way he made the announcement tonight. He knew that it was going to be negative. I'm actually watching the GIF of him saying Baron Corbin, and he immediately puts his hand up because immediately everyone goes, "Boo! No!" And he goes, "Oh, hold on." He goes, nothing would make me happier than to make Corbin tap out at WrestleMania. Then he can end his career as the happiest man in the world. I mean, even the line, there was nothing. There was no conviction behind the line.
I want your take
Not that
on
Kurt
it,
Angle
though.
really delivers lines well, but you can tell that he doesn't believe in this.
So then why is he not saying, I don't want this? Why is he not standing up for it?
Because he's a company guy. That's just what you do. I mean, he's getting a WrestleMania match. It's his farewell match. And in fact, it really should be his farewell match. It really, really should.
Do you think it will be a farewell match? Because it's
no, I don't. I think that Kurt's...
So this isn't truly a retirement match then?
I think that Kurt's contract will eventually lapse and he'll go on the independent scene and try to have one last run, and he'll wind up hurting himself pretty bad, probably. But that just because there's no way that you could possibly be satisfied with this being your final angle.
That's what I'm saying. I don't really know if he could truly go, like, when they were like, you're going to have a match against Baron Corbin, he's like, okay. Like, this
is what it's been building to. All those losses, all that embarrassment, just building to Baron Corbin.
You know what I can't stand more than anything?
Yes.
When you're right about something.
I know.
I can't stand it.
I know.
There was a part of me that I'm like, oh, I'm going to hear about this later. I'm going to hear about this, and he's going to be like, I told you so.
Of all the things that I could be right about, this was the one that I didn't want to be right about.
I know you didn't, but you're going to
relish
in it.
I don't. There's no possible way I could relish in this.
With me. Maybe not with everybody else on here, but you're going to be like, I told you. I told you.
No, there's zero chance of that. There's zero chance. I want to be wrong. I want to be wrong. I'd rather sleep on the couch than be right about this. This is just, I don't know. But there is some optimism out there. I want to read a tweet that somebody sent me.
I sent you. Okay.
Yes, on the Wrestleview account. If I can just scroll down to it real quick. It's a conspiracy theory, no doubt about it. But
okay.
It's just like, I'll take any positivity about this announcement. Any positivity.
That's a good way of looking at it, I guess.
With Kurt Angle, this is from Seth T.
Okay.
With Kurt Angle's WrestleMania 35 opponent announced, I have a conspiracy theory. He even admits it. I like that.
Props to you, Seth.
Props to you. What if Angle makes Baron Corbin tap out in a squash, only for John Cena to come out and request that they have a real match? Please, anything but what I'm thinking.
Ooh.
And you want to know what I'm thinking? I'm going to double down on being right now. I'm going to double down that they want to give Baron Corbin heat to live on forever. He's beating Kurt Angle. Beating Kurt Angle. Yep. Yep.
That's very
yeah.
That's very bold.
Maybe with the help of Kurt Angle's son, Jason Jordan.
Oh my god. There was somebody posted in the WrestleView media page recently on Jason Jordan. It was like amazing. There was a meme. Check it out.
What is there to say anymore?
There's nothing to say.
I mean, like, that was just like, I wish I could play it and keep our podcast on the air, you know, and not have WWE like file a copyright infringement for playing one of their videos.
Yeah.
But I wish that you could hear the crowd as soon as he said Baron Corbin. Wow. Just, I mean, he's like, what? Even he was like, okay, let's, you know, I have to get my happiest man in the world line in here. So
think of my kids. Think of my wife.
Yeah. And so Kurt Angle talks about this retirement tour or whatever. Yeah. Farewell tour. That's what he's calling it.
Was he Elton John?
A farewell tour. A farewell tour of 3 weeks that since he announced, like, yeah, what a tour. Even at least Ric Flair had since like November, and then he finally got retired at WrestleMania. Kurt Angle gets 3 weeks.
Elton John's retired farewell tour for 3 years.
Yeah, I know. But 20 years of wrestling, and this is his.
Just all comes down to these next 3 weeks.
Comes down to 3 weeks. That's your farewell tour. Yeah. So anyway, the farewell tour sees him have a match in Chicago against Chad Gable, a match that I would have to say it had to be a dream match for some people, and I thought that, you know, this would be good, but 5 years ago it would have been phenomenal.
Right.
Mm-hmm. Kurt Angle, I mean, you know, like the sad broken down act that they've booked him as is actually like, it's real life. I mean, Kurt Angle should retire. There's no question about it. He is a shell of his former self. There's just no denying it. Yeah. You watch him with Chad Gable. There was one point in the match where Chad got really quick. You know, I think they were trying to do some cute stuff, you know, playing off their excellent amateur wrestlers. Obviously, Kurt Angle's the better of the two, won a gold medal for it, but Chad Gable was good in his own right. And from all accounts, including when I talked to Simon Gotch at StarCast in September, said that Chad Gable's easy, hands down, one of the strongest guys on the WWE roster, without question.
It's amazing that he said that.
There was a point where Chad Gable went for this, like, kind of like doing a couple holds, and then he went for a leg sweep, and Kurt just kind of just so stiff, just wasn't expecting. His reflexes are all off, you know. I wonder if the drugs really, you know, kind of fizzled out his mind a little bit, hurt his senses, hurt his ability, his reflexes. Either that or his body's just kind of giving out on him. That was a really sad moment. Yeah. Kurt trying to roll out of an ankle lock was another sad moment, and Gable had to like really kind of throw himself over Kurt to avoid tripping over his body, which was just in the way to get in the corner. There was a couple sad moments in this. I mean, there was they worked hard, and for that, he has, you know, they both have, you know, my respect. I respect that they worked hard. They had a good plan for the match. No, it just Kurt would just his body couldn't go anymore. And I would rather have just let that match kind of like live in like the fantasy match. What if they ever met, rather than have it actually happened.
Yeah. No, I agree with you. I think, you know, no one can take away anything from Kurt Angle, obviously, you know, no matter, despite how lackluster the match is or matches are in these next couple weeks that he'll have, can't take anything away from him. You know, you just kind of have to.
Especially when his retirement match is Baron Corbin. It's like he's already got enough trouble.
Maybe I'll give Kurt a call and be like, "Hey,
God,
what can I do for you? Is everything okay?"
I know. We got to call his agent and check on Kurt.
I'll call Dave.
We see like a couple people joked, and CJ was one of them, to do a health watch for me. But I think we need to call Kurt's agent and do a health watch for
call
Kurt,
Dave.
because it's like
I'll call his agent Dave. Be like, Dave, we need to chat.
Yep. So anyway, Kurt Angle wins by submission. They worked hard. Just leave the memories alone. One of those type deals.
Absolutely.
That Ric Flair song just keeps playing in my head sometimes when I see these things.
Yep.
All right. What are the other big moments that happened on this show? Oh, God. Ronda Rousey versus Dana Brooke for the Raw Women's Championship. And I love how I got to tell you, I absolutely love how they promoted this match. Will Dana Brooke play spoiler to one of the biggest main events of all time? Like, come on. But
why does
man,
everything have to be a title match? Why can't it just be a match?
No, it's fine because it's like Ronda Rousey saying, like, I know, like, no one can touch me. I'm shooting now. This is now a shoot. We're not play fighting anymore. This is a total shoot. I'm going to put my title on the line because I know that I can kill you at any given second.
I guess.
And this match was booked to perfection. It went about 20 seconds.
I love that. But the only...
Maybe?
Not even. But and that part of it was great. But the only thing, like you just said before, like, why are we always trying to pretend that, like, Dana Brooke is going to replace Ronda Rousey?
I think that's just what they have to do to promote the match. But
whatever.
I know,
still,
and it's silly.
But I mean, it doesn't take away from anything, of course.
Well, we've talked about how the commentators really have a lack of credibility anymore.
But the 20-second match that they had, or even whatever, like 15 seconds, fantastic. Just she comes in, Dana Brooke's like all confident, and then squished.
I know.
It was
great. It was a lot of fun. Actually, I have the entire match in one GIF right here. This is it. The knee to the friggin' head, first of all, was vicious. The knees to the chest were vicious, and the arm bar to perfection. Ooh. That knee, I could watch that knee over and over again. It really looked like she friggin' rocked her.
Yeah.
That was awesome.
She rocked her world.
Boom, one more time. Good.
Dana Brooke, that would be your best match you've ever had in your career.
This is the pinnacle. We've seen peak Dana Brooke tonight. Yeah. This is it. This is the peak. This was awesome. Just flat out awesome. Afterward, she would not let go of the armbar.
Yes.
So they sent out some referees to help get her off. So that didn't sound right. To help pull Rousey off, and she pushed the referee. Now she had already been fined an undisclosed amount. So security runs down, and as she's up by her husband Travis Brown now, Rousey immediately takes down one of the security guards, demolishes him, and then Travis Brown rocks this guy with a forearm. Here we go, right here. Oh my God. You could see his elbow go right into the guy's cheekbone. It was, oof, man, that was vicious.
Would you do that for me?
Well, I don't know if I don't know. I don't know, I guess, maybe. But, I mean, that was a vicious friggin' forearm. That was awesome. I guess Travis Brown's getting involved now. I like it.
Me too. Well, remember when Rousey said that about Becky Lynch? She goes, "You got my husband involved, and that's where I lost it."
Right.
So it makes sense for sure.
I know. Wow.
Love everything about this.
Yeah, that was just tons and tons of fun. Just completely awesome.
She's amazing.
Completely awesome. So Ronda Rousey is just, I mean, that's what I was saying last week. I was kind of curious about how they're going to book this main event. It almost has to be like a female Brock Lesnar match, and this felt like a female Brock Lesnar match where the one opponent has zero chance. Kind of reminds me of when Lesnar faced Kofi Kingston at Beast in the East when they had that 5 o'clock in the morning show in Japan.
Oh, yeah.
When was that? It was actually, I think it was on the 4th of July, 2015. Yes, because it was right before we got married.
That's right. I do remember that, actually.
That's right. And I actually got up early to recap that.
I do remember that, yeah.
And he just killed Kofi Kingston, which is suplex, F5, done. You know, like just all action. This is how the main event of WrestleMania is going to go.
That's what I'm excited for about.
It's going to be pretty damn good.
Me too.
Felt like Paul Heyman had a big hand in writing this tonight.
That's what I wanted to mention. So I've been watching Total Bellas. And they confirmed essentially that Heyman has been very involved with Ronda Rousey, because when Nikki Bella and Ronda had their match at Evolution, Heyman was talking to them backstage about, like, you know, and the Bellas were thanking him, and Ronda was thanking him too for, you know, all that he's been involved with. So
right. See, this is the kind of cutting edge news that you're going to get on this show. you know, like
people make fun of me, but it's like I get all this information.
Victoria,
Heyman's on Total Bellas.
Victoria watches Total Bellas, so you don't have to, and neither do I.
I love Total Bellas.
I know. She really does.
I do.
She does. Like she secludes herself in a room for an hour to watch Total Bellas because I don't watch it, and she's a good wife. Yeah. So, and then she gives me the report afterward.
Yeah, and that was the one thing that Heyman is very much involved, and and like you just said just now, he's written all over it. Yeah, I got confirmation that he is for sure.
Victoria's got confirmation. She's got the ins with everybody. Triple H and Total Bellas.
I met Paul Heyman too.
Yes you did, and he liked you actually.
He did like me. He called me Jersey Girl. Oh, yeah. Remember?
Yes, I was there. Yes.
All right. I'm just saying.
Okay. Anyway, the next thing that happened was we had Batista live via satellite from Tampa, Florida, and this was just fun. Batista was just like laid back, kind of talking in a different tempo than everybody else does. Again, this is what made me like it, because it's just it was something that was out of the realm of what we normally hear, where it's just like everybody has the same tempo to their promos, the same cadence, the same people writing the same stuff over and over again, and then giving it to these people. They all start to sound the same. Batista, this was fun. Number one, just look at him. He looks like a James Bond villain, probably because he had some experience in Spectre as a James Bond villain. Totally awesome. Sitting in a big leather chair, talking like, Michael Cole goes, what is your problem with Triple H? And he goes, I don't like him. I just don't like him. Ever since I left, all I want to do is come back and have that one last match with him. So now we're here. It was just fun, and it just kept going on. Batista talked about how Triple H held him down when they were in Evolution, was grooming him just to use him as a muscle, and he even referred to himself as a meathead, with Triple H holding him down, underestimating him. And Cole coaxed more out of him, saying, mentioning that he quit. And Batista says, "Yeah, I quit, but I don't like people saying that I quit. Imagine having your friend who is also your boss and jealous of you, never giving you a fair opportunity, thinking that you're not a big enough star to be on top of the company. So I left, and now I'm world famous, and now I am in the position of control, and I'm getting what I deserve. So I always wanted to have that one last match against Triple H. Now I'm going to end his in-ring career. Interview over, kicks them out. I loved it. Every second of it, I loved it.
I have to disagree with you.
Of course.
I did not like it. And it wasn't so much the tempo as much as of how he said it and what he said.
What did he say that was so bad?
No, I didn't hate it, but okay, there was one part that I would have done differently. When Michael Cole said, well, with all due respect, I've worked for Triple H for 20 years and he's done nothing but, shown me respect and
except
everything.
For that one time he tried to break Cole's arm. Didn't he do? I think he did something to Michael Cole at one point. He beat him up. I think he broke JR's arm, but oh God, I don't even want to mention JR. But
if I were Batista in that moment, because he's like, with all due respect, but Triple H has been, my boss for 20 years. I've known him for 20 years, and he's been nothing but great to me, and blah, 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 blah. If I were Batista, I would have approached it like, yeah, but who are you, Michael Cole? Like, I would have, you know what I mean? Like, I would have said something along the lines of like, yeah, but you don't mean anything. He's not jealous of you. He has no reason to combat with you, to argue with you, to be jealous of you, because you're nothing. I'm Batista. And that's where I would have gone with that, just to kind of add a little bit more of an edge to it. I agree with you in the sense of, yes, we don't want the same promo. We don't want the same tempo. We don't want the same lines delivered. But to add a little bit more of an edge to give that like jackass feel, Batista should have went back at Cole and maybe said like, maybe I'm being too particular. But if that were me involved with this segment, I would have said to him, no, you need to stick it back to Michael Cole and be like, well, you're nobody.
Well, no,
like,
he did. He did.
Yeah, but not really. Like a tiny bit, but it's actually physically saying, yeah, maybe he's respectful towards you because he's got nothing against you because you're no threat to him.
Well, he also said, I mean, yeah, actually, that's a great line. No doubt about that. But what Batista said, he asked what's wrong with Cole. Triple H is known as the cerebral assassin. He has everybody fooled. He's the most selfish, insecure, jealous, control freak he's ever met. Now, also, getting all this stuff out there wasn't a lot of time to build this match, honestly.
Agreed. I'm just saying, in that moment,
they had 5 weeks of build.
Yeah, that moment I just would have said something.
5 weeks of build to get over what Batista basically labeled as 20 years, or not quite 20 years. Let's say 15.
15, yeah.
15 years of just being held down and used, and it's hard to get all that out there in one segment. But I thought for what he did, the way he delivered it, I didn't hate it. I thought it was effective enough, and I just liked the different feel of it.
I didn't like it overall. Like I said, didn't hate it. But I would have changed that one thing.
Yeah. Well, I think that's a really, really good line. Good night, Roy Nemmer. Roy Nemmer's got to go to sleep.
Bye, Roy.
Bye, Roy. He's got to get to sleep.
Everybody else stay.
Yes. No. Everybody else. Everybody else.
Just because the celebrity's gone doesn't mean.
Yes. Don't be a bunch of star fuckers. Okay. You have to stay. All right. Anyway, so all right, we'll agree to disagree on the Batista thing. I'm going to say I like that one more time.
Wait, who agreed with me, or not you, or not me, or you?
I'm sure a lot of people agree with you. Let's see. Andrew Elder did not like the promo. He says he did not.
Thank you, Andrew.
Did not like the promo. Yeah, and I guess we'll hear from more once the tape delay catches up and all that stuff. All right. Now we have Drew McIntyre out in the ring. I'm skipping around. We'll get back to all this stuff, obviously. All the stuff that we skipped. But Drew McIntyre's in the ring. There are replays being shown of him sending Roman Reigns head first into the ring post last week. Reigns is not medically cleared to be here. And also him killing Dean Ambrose. So...
What?
I just have to say it because it played a big part in it already, and I get it. I get it. There's a bad guy. He's got to get heat somehow, Mike. Well, there's got to be different. There's different ways to get heat. Okay, there's different ways to get heat, and one of the ways that they chose for McIntyre to get heat tonight, they could have just gone with it could have just been enough to just send him into the ring post and give him a concussion, but I get it. You can say this without actually saying the word. He goes, when you came back, everybody rejoiced, but I could tell at Fastlane you weren't the same, and you relied on the Shield to get through that match. But now the Shield is no more. And now I took you out. I took Dean Ambrose out. And now Seth Rollins has attacked me from behind. He's living in a fantasy world. This is his yard now. I'm talking to you now, Roman Reigns, but I'm not talking to Roman Reigns, the superstar. I'm talking to Joe. And he could still go on and say, but once you say the L word, it just becomes exploitation and gross. I agree. Hate this crap.
I agree
with you. It doesn't work. The crowd sat on their hands the entire time. None of this stuff ever works. Using Jim Neidhart didn't work at all for Natalya. It had no residual effects. In fact, when Natalya and Ruby Riott face each other like in February, no one remembered it. It had no residual heat. It did nothing for either of them. In fact, if anything, it slowed them down. Now he drops the leukemia bomb. He goes. Yeah. You told us to call you that when your leukemia came back, Joe, the husband and father. But now you're Joe at home because of me and blah blah blah. I just don't want every single freaking Roman Reigns feud from now until Roman Reigns retires
to be all about leukemia.
To have mention of leukemia.
Yeah.
It's just...
I agree.
There are creative ways to get heat.
Absolutely.
There are.
And I agree with you. I think there's both sides to it. I don't think it was distasteful.
This one wasn't as obnoxious as it could have been. I will preface it with
absolutely. That. I don't think it was distasteful by any means, but I agree with you. I think you could have brought up maybe the word illness or I don't know. I don't know how I would word it exactly, but I think you could have worded it differently where you didn't have to mention the L word. You didn't have to bring his cancer into the whole promo. But you could see where both sides are because you really want Drew McIntyre to be this like guy who comes off as like, well, I don't really care what you had. Like, I care about now, and I demolished you then. I'll demolish you now. Whatever. But I don't think they need to, I agree with you. I don't think they needed to mention the leukemia component of it. And every storyline should not center around that. Like, he's more than his leukemia.
Right. And actually, Quentin makes a good point here. Sickness could have been a better word. Yes, sickness.
Yeah, sickness, illness, like something.
And anything other than just like, it's just like, oh, leukemia. Because that's going to be the big, oh my goodness.
I think that was what they were looking for.
Reigns, you may have beaten leukemia, but on the grandest stage of them all, you'll never beat me.
You could have said,
I'm tougher than cancer.
Yeah. Like that. I don't think it was like I said. I think
but it's that kind of stuff that just makes people groan. It made the crowd groan tonight, and not the good groan either, where it's just like, oh, you got us. This is like, oh my god, they're still doing this. This is the crap that makes people embarrassed to be wrestling fans. It is, and that's just all there is to it. If you watch the show with anybody who's not into wrestling, and they see this, it's just.
And I hate to say this man's name. I do. But to be honest with you, it gives those stupid trolls like Dave Meltzer more of a reason to be like, well, I said it was a work, like it's a work and blah blah blah.
Well, I'm not even worried about that.
I'm not worried about that either. But what I'm saying is like you have morons like that who will say stuff like that, and it's just like, why even add that like.
Yes, I know. Why give them more fuel to talk about how it's a work? And
no, exactly. Like let's just let Roman Reigns like have this match at WrestleMania.
Yeah,
and let's like I said, let's just bring him back into the company without association of the cancer. Like,
If you're going to associate him with it, have it be charity work, have it be good, good deeds,
right?
Not just like, hey, he had cancer. Now I'm going to use it as heat because I can't think of anything better.
Right. And I don't. Yeah. I think, like I said, it's a kind of like a catch-22. Like you get where they're coming from. You really want like strong heat on the guy, but you didn't have to use.
All right. Yeah. All right. We're beating a dead horse because it's never going to end.
Okay. Sorry. Jeez.
No. It'll just never end though because it's like, as much good things as WWE does. And they do a lot of good things. I think back to that thing that they did with the kids and getting the car company involved. That was all really nice stuff. They've granted so many wishes. In fact, they're giving the Warrior Award to the lady in the company who was directly responsible for the starting up the Make-A-Wish connection.
Yeah.
They've granted over 6,000 wishes.
It is amazing. It
to
truly
kids that
is
are dying.
Remarkable.
Making kids happy. But at the end of the day, when they do stuff like this, when they exploit death, when they exploit when they mention Reed Flair as a throwaway line, in promos, when they mention leukemia, something, it just pigeonholes WWE as that trash brand of entertainment, the redheaded stepchild of all entertainment.
It makes what Doug.
It just makes it just a carny crap show, kind of like what Ronda Rousey was saying.
What Doug was saying, when Doug and I when we were on the show together, and even when you two were on the show together, and what Doug's been saying for the past couple weeks, with these really good Raws that we've been having, you like want people to see that side of Raw because it's like, oh, this is why I'm a wrestling fan,
right? And when if you get people tuning into this,
then exactly, then it's like, oh, well, okay. And then you see like, all right, well, that's like, why are you still a fan,
right?
But
well, anyway.
Anywho,
Drew McIntyre, regardless of that, still had a good night.
He did.
Drew McIntyre versus Seth Rollins was actually really good. They started off with a brawl. We came back. It was mostly Drew dominating for the entire match.
Yeah, it was.
Countering all of Rollins' stuff. And Rollins was really, thinking 3 weeks out. He took, there was at one point, he took an inverted Alabama slam, landed on his forehead and his shoulder, like really, really stiff. You kind of want to be loose and limber for your WrestleMania main event coming up, in 3 weeks. Not really want to put yourself in total harm's way, but he was bumping all over the place, including this bump here off the steps. Goes for a moonsault block. McIntyre sidesteps him. Rollins takes full blow on his knees, on his elbows. That looked painful. He bounced right off the floor. Later on, he makes a fiery comeback. This comeback was one of the greatest comebacks I've seen this year in WWE, by far. When Rollins finally got ahead of steam, started hitting his suicide dives. He hit 2 massive suicide dives that were really, really awesome. I couldn't find a gif of them, but trust me, they're awesome. Find the highlights, you shall see. Gets him in the ring, sling blade, super kick, fire, total fire. Even the superplex into the Falcon Arrow. This was a great comeback. But just when it looked like Rollins was going to get ahead, Brock Lesnar's music hits. He comes out, distracts him. Claymore kick by Drew McIntyre. The end. Lesnar's left laughing. This concluded our Empire Strikes Back Raw, where all the bad guys go over and the faces are left licking their wounds.
Yeah,
which is fine. You need these, but it's like you need these shows every now and then to build up a pay-per-view. But when the show is 3 hours long and it's 3 hours of bad guys going over and over and over. It gets a little long in the tooth, if you know what I mean.
You know what I really liked about this, though? I love how the feuds are intermingling with each other.
Yes.
Like, everything affects the other individual's feud, and people are coming to the defense of other individuals. I like that.
Yes. I know. It's almost like people have friends sometimes in these businesses. But this is smart booking. If Seth Rollins does come out victorious at WrestleMania, which I think he should, I think that'd be a really good thing to have the title, have the title back on the show, give the show some purpose. It doesn't mean that Brock Lesnar has to go away. It doesn't mean that he's going to UFC. It just means
I don't want him to go away.
It just means that Brock Lesnar doesn't have the title.
Yeah, I don't want him going away.
That's all it means.
I'm not a Brock Lesnar hater. So
no, but there's a lot of things that Lesnar can do, and in fact, you kind of want to start setting Brock up for some SmackDown feuds, especially if they're going to make the big drive that SmackDown is the show to watch for when they move to Friday in October.
Yeah.
That, to start positioning Lesnar to start having some feuds there might be a good idea. So maybe it's time to get the title back on Seth Rollins. And if they do that, this defeat by Drew McIntyre sets him up as a natural first title opponent for Rollins.
Yeah,
it's it's just a natural booking.
Yeah,
it just falls right into line. I thought it was really good. I liked the main event.
Me too.
The match was fun. Sets up that natural contendership for the championship if Rollins does come out victorious. But wasn't enough to save the show for me. But because let's talk about some of the stuff that was big misses. Ugh. Well, first we got a moment of bliss, and I think we know that, the moment of bliss never work out.
It's anything
Not
but
really.
a moment of bliss.
It
is. It's really not. It's anything but. Like it's. I feel bad. I really do.
Yeah.
I like her a lot, and she's so good on the mic. But why is this not working?
Because they give her crap. It's just scripted lines and it's like her character goes through this weird thing when she does these things too. Alexa Bliss is either a serious, kind of trolly kind of heel.
Yes.
And then whenever somebody comes on her show, now she's like this little slut that's just going to flirt with you and talk about your washboard abs or she introduced herself to Elias and she's all flirtatious. Like they make her come off as okay, So is she a serious wrestler? Is she a serious heel? Is she supposed to be like the heel skank? Like, what is this?
Or is she a face too? Because when she had her interaction with Braun Strowman, no, like we don't want any problems. Like, I'll talk to Colin and Michael, and like we'll work something out. Just don't do anything to them. Like what is she? I think you're right. I think that's the part that's like very.
This stunk to high hell though.
Yeah,
this was just garbage. Alexa Bliss interviews Elias, and it just was garbage. Although Elias did get a good line in about the Chicago Bears because they were eliminated on a missed field goal. He goes, and Elias also announces himself as the headline musical act at WrestleMania. And if his performance at WrestleMania was a game-winning field goal, he'd make it every single time, which drew boos from the Chicago crowd.
Oh.
Then we get No Way Jose's music coming out, so now you can tell that this segment's totally off the tracks.
Took totally a different turn.
Otis and Tucker of Heavy Machinery are just leading the charge with no Way Jose there, and then No Way Jose attacks him from behind dressed as a hamburger, which led to Elias versus No Way Jose. And I'm not even kidding. This is not me being like, silly. No one in the crowd. I was watching more than I was recapping the match itself. I was watching the crowd. No one in the crowd moved. No one said anything. It was dead silent.
Yeah, no, you're right.
The only people cheering in this match were the paid actors that were part of the conga line. This was death on TV. This was literally like watching somebody be given a shot, a lethal injection, and just watching them fade away. It was watching death. It was the worst.
It was
it
painful.
Sucked. And they're chanting No Way Jose's name, slapping the mat, trying to get people into it. No one would move. Horrible, atrocious, the worst. Wow.
I love it. Wow.
That's all I can say. I mean, they succeeded in that. Was the
if your goal was to make everybody still and silent and no reaction,
right.
You achieved your goal.
Right. And this came directly after that first half hour of Raw where it was red hot. Then they had the Moment of Bliss segment, and then Elias versus No Way Jose. And I'm not kidding. I picked up my phone. I got to call 911. I got to call 911 because 14,000 people were murdered.
Oh my God.
Because they were all dead. The crowd was completely dead after a red hot first half hour of Raw. 15,000 people.
Chicago, Mike
dead.
Tedesco's looking out for you.
Yeah. Yep. It just sucked. Quentin Walters, my relationships in this segment had one thing in common. They both died.
Oh my God. Poor Quentin.
Oh my God.
Quentin, we love you.
Oh my God, I love that guy. That's hilarious. And like Danielle says, Elise Jose is off the milk carton now officially. Well, there's that. He shouldn't be he shouldn't be on the milk carton. He should be not wrestling in this company or getting a gimmick change or somewhere else other than on the main roster, because this has been an unmitigated disaster the entire way. And by the way, it's not even like, it's just the gimmick is just death. He's not very good in the ring either.
Well, Triple H
stinks.
Didn't hold
and that green hair.
Triple H should not uphold to his end of the bargain when he said anybody who comes on from NXT to the main roster is really going to bring something to the table. Triple H.
Yeah,
really?
Not this guy. Not this guy. But it just shows, like, the kind of the eye for talent they have. Like when they look at the NXT roster and someone who's scouting talent for the main roster goes, No Way Jose, he looks main roster ready. Fire that man. Okay, moving on. Jesus Christ. Ugh, golly. Anyway, this segment was another one of those segments that died a death. Seriously died a death.
Which one? Charlie
Caruso interviewing Sasha Banks and Bayley in the ring.
Oh, I have so much to say.
Oh, God. Sucked. Anyway, Bayley and Banks are going to SmackDown tomorrow to show the Iconics that they're not ducking them, and, it'll be iconic, and just that whatever. It sucked. Anyway, so Natalia's music interrupts them, and Natalia's getting booed in Chicago, which is like, okay, whatever.
Poor Natalya.
Beth Phoenix joins her at her side, and, this just goes to show you that you can slap the label Hall of Fame on people, and it doesn't matter. Because it's only been 6 years since Beth Phoenix has been a full-time performer, and the career was just like, she was a big fish in a small pond, but like she wasn't like a great wrestler, and it's just like she didn't do anything where she could be like, fondly remembered, like, oh my god, remember that Beth Phoenix match that she had with Kelly Kelly? Wasn't that just great? Wasn't that great?
Tell everyone what I did today, though.
God, I wish that we could go back and just have Beth Phoenix versus Kelly Kelly.
Tell everyone what I did today.
That. No one. There's no career highlight for Beth Phoenix.
You were very impressed today with what I did today, though.
Yes, I was very impressed. I was I inadvertently found myself looking at the highlights of Impact this week, and I saw that Gail Kim was involved in something. I was like, I thought Gail Kim retired, so I started looking her up, and then I started reading about her WWE career again. And Gail Kim eliminated herself from some battle royal and then quit WWE. She eliminated herself after they told her that she has to lose in 30 seconds or whatever. And Victoria was like, oh, I remember this match. And then Beth Phoenix attacks Kelly Kelly afterward. And I was like, how do you remember that? And but it's kind of like how I was
watching it.
No, but that's kind of like how I was when I was young watching wrestling. I remember everything about it. That's when Victoria started watching wrestling. So
poor me, everyone.
She came in on Beth Phoenix and Kelly Kelly. So maybe you are that person that's like, oh my god, I can't wait. I miss those days. I don't know.
No, what's interesting that like you
oh
said,
my god, hold on, CJ Bowman, the Melina Beth match. No, Melina was atrocious. No, no. Although I will give you Beth and Santino. I will give you that.
Yes,
I will absolutely give you that. That's it, though. That's it. Beth and Santino was actually awesome.
Okay, so
but really, like, what are her career highlights? But anyway, so she cuts this promo in Chicago, and like they awoke the dragon when they attacked me, and I'm thinking maybe our dreams can become a reality, and we want to face you at WrestleMania. I was like, what, are Trish and Lita busy? Like this is the dream team that they dreamt up for WrestleMania. Natalya and Beth Phoenix versus Bayley and Sasha Banks versus Nia Jax and Tamina.
Okay. But the only thing is, though, no matter what, I don't care who faces them. It's just as long as they beat the crap out of those two.
But this is what I was talking about with these titles. Like these pointless women's tag team titles that don't need to be there. They're already out of people for them to face now we have to like dust Beth Phoenix off, hope people remember her, give her a line like they have awakened the dragon again.
You know what? I can't completely.
And then they freaking like basically turn Bayley heel and cutting this promo, and like it just sucked because Bayley and Sasha suck as characters, so they can't carry this thing. And then it's freaking Beth Phoenix now coming out of retirement that nobody really remembers and no one was clamoring for.
However, However, if you think
Natalya?
about it. Right, but if you actually think about it,
their tag team was based on Natalya farting. That was like the big thing for their tag team when Natalya was farting.
Let me
No,
speak.
Eve, that stinks.
Let me speak. The whole
farting.
We get it. The whole thing about this though is
farting.
It's just stop it.
I hope they do another promo with Natalya farting.
No, Eve. That stinks.
Yeah. What a joke.
No, but the whole okay. This is how you know how.
Timeout.
This is how you know how. What happened?
I'm giving myself a timeout. You can speak now.
This is. Oh, thank you. This is how you know how bad it was, though, because Bayley and Sasha, like you said, could not carry this whole thing. When Beth Phoenix and Natalya get the better showing in a segment, in a promo, you know this is bad. Because there was actually at some point, and like I said, I don't know if I'm so, because I'm like, I really don't know. Because immediately when I look at the two of them, I'm like, oh my God, I can't. But when Natalia and Beth spoke, I was like, oh, you know what? They're actually really not doing a bad job. Like, I was actually pretty impressed with that they were doing, but I don't know if it's because in comparison of what the other two, were doing.
Yeah. So
you have to admit, Beth and Natalia had the better showing out of those two.
I agree. And I even said in my tweet about this match that this was probably the best that they ever booked Beth Phoenix, even including the time that she was a full-time performer.
And Natalia.
Because she really, she really like woman handled them. She came off looking strong. That being said, even though this was the best she's ever been booked, this still stunk.
Yeah,
that's really special.
Agreed. No,
really special.
But that's what I'm saying. This is very unique in the sense of like it made two individuals who look good, but it's because of what they're in comparison to.
CJ Bowman actually mentioning Bailey is trash even before she came into WWE as Davina Rose. Watch her Shimmer stuff. No one really cared. I'm kind of curious.
Yeah, I'll have to look that up.
How bad. And I'm not. It's just like their characters are just dead in the water. Like they always do like these wide pan shots of the crowd right before Sasha's music hits, as if like they're gonna see everybody just stand up and go, yes, here comes Sasha Banks. It never happens. Yes. Never happens. Their reactions dwindle and dwindle and dwindle, like because everybody knows this it shouldn't be.
No, Mike, and that stinks.
Yeah, it does. It's oh my God. Natalia farting. That's the tag team that just got reformed, and we're supposed to remember this fondly. Natalia farting. But this match screams. Number one, it screams it shouldn't be being booked. But now that's neither here nor there. It has been booked. It will be booked, and it will include Nia Jax and Tamina too. This match screams pre-show, screams the kickoff show, but because it's the historical women's tag team championships, it has to be on the main card. Made a big deal.
Oh, it's definitely going to be on the main card.
We have Beth Phoenix coming out of retirement, and it's a really big deal. All things being equal, now that, like the women are looked at as equally as the men, which is perfect. That's great. It should happen. Then the women are going to be in the main event. Just because the gender is thrown on there of, they're women, that it doesn't automatically mean that it just automatically deserves to be on the show. This is garbage booking. The storyline is full of crap. There's no clamoring for it. Nobody's interested in it. It doesn't need to be on the show.
As a woman, I have to agree with you.
It's insulting.
As a woman, I have to agree. It actually sets back.
It marginalizes the entire movement of the entire revolution.
You're not showing
by saying like, because they're women, it just needs to be on the show because we're women power. It's like showing... this. How about if your feud sucks, you don't make it onto the show.
It's true.
If your feud sucks, you don't make it on the show. It doesn't matter if you're a woman or a guy.
Agreed. I really do agree with that. You can't just put a women's match on the main card just because they're women. You can't do it, and you shouldn't do it. There's no equality in that.
No.
There's no equality in that. You're just making it, like you said, you're just making it very known. Like,
it's a handout.
We feel like we have to do this. We feel obligated to do this because of this women's evolution and this women's movement. It's like, you can't do that. And this is speaking from a woman. So I don't want anybody saying like, oh no, Mike, you're being sexist towards the women. Like, they deserve this opportunity. No, they don't. This is not a good feud.
No.
If you had maybe, like you said, Trish and Lita, and only simply because it's Trish and Lita, main card worthy. But because I'm not disputing anything in Beth Phoenix. I actually like Beth Phoenix.
It's whatever.
Yeah,
but
it has nothing to do with them as much as it has to do with Sasha and Bailey.
Wasn't clamoring for the mother of two to come out of retirement.
But that's not even the point. It's more because of Sasha and Bailey. This is why it's not working, and because it's simply they're women that they're going to be on. I don't want that. I really want equality for the women, and I want them to earn their way. I don't want just women just getting opportunities just because they're females.
Right.
I just don't. And I'm happy with Ronda, Becky, and Charlotte being in the main event because because
they deserve it. That's an actual match where it's like, okay, it built well. Yeah, there was a couple of detours where things kind of got, cold for a little bit, but now it feels like it's heating up again, especially after this Ronda Rousey segment. It feels really hot again.
Kevin Owens got a lot of Kevin Owens got a lot of heat that time, saying, "Oh, you know what?
He didn't really get a lot of heat.
No, but what event was it?
No, it was Hell in a Cell, and he was facing Roman Reigns. He was mad that his match wasn't the main event. It was Sasha Banks and Charlotte Flair.
There you go, Sasha Banks.
And that match stunk, by the way.
It's not, and like I said, but you need to make it worthy. You can't just. It's not a true evolution. Otherwise, it's not a true indication of showing equality.
It's just a handout, and it's like, well, you know, we have to have, you know,
you don't do the same thing for the guys. Don't do it for the women.
We have to have, you know, a token amount of women's matches, and here's our quota.
I hate that.
Yeah, you know. How about this? How about like actually going with the characters and building up to like number one, there's too many goddamn titles on these shows. WrestleMania is rumored to be 17 matches long. 17 matches. 17. Now, I don't think that's actually going to be the final number, but more than 3/4 of them are going to be title matches. Do we need to have multiple tag team titles for these divisions? No. You could combine the Raw and SmackDown tag titles, have one, and have the tag teams just be kind of just going all over the place. God damn it. You know, it's like, that's the one smart thing, the only smart thing they did with the women's tag team titles. Now, the stupid thing about the women's tag team titles was, even with the champions moving all around, there aren't enough women tag teams or a deep enough roster to make this even feasible. It's stupid. Do we need to have, you know, a cruiserweight title now? Do we need to have 205 Live at all anymore? I mean, don't get me wrong. I love Buddy Murphy, and I'm throwing it out there. I'm just throwing it out there. But like you're almost conditioning the people, like it has to be a title match or people don't care. Think about like the regular singles matches that happen. The regular singles matches where it's like, okay, something, you know, builds up. Like I like. First of all, they're few and far between. I have a feeling that AJ Styles versus Randy Orton, everybody's going to be sitting on their hands because there's no stakes involved. And usually people sit on their hands with big time pay-per-view Randy Orton matches anyway. Shane versus Miz, you know, with Shane as the heel, probably not doing one of his big spots. People are going to be sitting on their hands for that match. And I know but it's because now people are conditioned. If it's not a title, it doesn't matter. And most pay-per-views, you'll have 8 matches on a regular B pay-per-view, and 7 of those matches will be title matches, and maybe 1 singles match every now and then.
But the right
which
title's
match
not
dies
holding
every time?
Precedence.
Which title dies every time? Which match dies every time? The singles match.
Yeah, the title, but it's not. They're not taking precedence for the right titles, though.
What do you mean?
Okay, so you know it would hurt. You know how like we always say, like it hurts like when you don't necessarily have like the champion, like the main title, like the Universal Champion or whatever.
Yeah.
Like,
oh yeah. I see what you mean.
Do you know what I mean?
Yes,
like
yes.
I'm not saying it correctly, but it hurts it. But when you're investing so much into like the United States Championship, and yes, you want to have value to these titles,
right?
But why are you putting so much emphasis on the United States Champion versus your Universal Champion?
Yeah, I don't know. It's just dumb.
It's directionless, but it's also at the same time there's too much emphasis on the like.
And then it's like, do we need 17 matches on WrestleMania? You know, like one of the big reasons why Vince wants to bring, and he said it at his press conference that he would just, you know, was just saying stuff probably, but for the XFL, he said football's too long. There's too much time in between the plays. You know, we just want all action. You know, we want to shorten the game, you know, not elongate it. So he wants to shorten the game of football. Which is fine. I agree with it. Keep the ball in play. MLB's experimenting with that, trying to get the pitch clock out there to make sure that these guys aren't, you know, bases are loaded and all of a sudden everybody turns into the human rain delay. You know, you have 20 seconds. Take the ball, release it. You know, more action. People want to see action. That's why TV ratings are going down. So they want to bring in action. Yes, I agree. Vince, and football games can be shorter. And they'll find a way. NFL will steal it, and then XFL will fade away again. That's fine. But this is the same guy. Football's too long. Wrestling, not long enough. 7 hours of WrestleMania, 17 matches. Not long enough.
It actually is overwhelming if you think about it. No,
it
really,
is.
it is. It is. It
is.
Very much is.
I need to get like an IV drip of coffee.
Well, remember when we were in, and this is no joke, we didn't eat in Miami when we went to WrestleMania.
I did. I had 2 pulled pork barbecue sandwiches.
But you had it like not in the, you didn't get up to get them though. I think Vin may have gotten them for you.
No, I got up at.
I didn't leave my seat at all that night.
I know. Yeah, you didn't leave your seat at all.
I didn't leave.
No, I remember because
anything.
Because the way they had our seats arranged was terrible. I had to like walk in front of like 30
But not even that. I didn't really. I felt like I was
time.
going to miss something because it was so long and because it was whatever. But I didn't eat a single thing that night, and a lot of people didn't either.
Right.
Because you just feel like you do need like a break. You do.
And CJ's making a good point too in the chat right now that Wrestle Kingdom, that's another long show, but Wrestle Kingdom is long, and they finally realized that, and that's why next year they're having 2 back-to-back Tokyo Dome shows in the same weekend.
Okay.
To kind of like
break it up.
Wrestle Kingdom Part 1, Wrestle Kingdom Part 2, but on the flip side of the Wrestle Kingdom argument, that is only watched by the ultra super fan. Okay, no one's asking, a casual fan to tune into that. Casual fans in the United States will not find Wrestle Kingdom. They will never watch it. They will not find it. It's only for the super fan. And, people in Japan who probably have a fandom to it. You probably have casual viewers in Japan, but it's a different culture. Here, you're asking the super fans and the casual fans to invest 7 hours on a Sunday to watch this show. And it'll probably go up to midnight, maybe past midnight.
Definitely.
Because when we were in Miami, it went to, I believe, Reigns pinned Undertaker, and by the time Undertaker made it up the ramp, and I believe it was almost 12:30, 1:45. It was something. It was long. It was super, super long.
Yeah. And you have wrestling, and all wrestling all weekend,
and
WWE, the Hall of Fame,
and I guess WWE sees the great reviews that Wrestle Kingdom gets, and it's like, okay, well, why don't we try it? But
it's different though.
Their style is different. This style is not made for hour-long epics.
The question for you with Wrestle Kingdom,
and the fans aren't conditioned for those kind of matches either.
But are they also having like these shows each week that are already 3 hours?
No.
4 hours.
No, they are not.
So that's different too.
Right.
So you're only investing a couple of days of watching hours of wrestling.
Agreed.
But when you're in these states, you're watching, you have Raw, SmackDown, 205, Main Event.
If you watch all of it.
If you watch NXT. If you watch all of it.
On a regular week with no pay-per-view, you have, just on Monday and Tuesday, just on that alone, 6 hours of TV.
Raw alone is exhausting.
6 hours
now.
of TV.
If you're only a Raw viewer,
oh, you're dead. You're dead. And then Wednesday
exhausting.
you have UK, you have regular NXT. If you throw in a main event in there, it's like you're
burnt out.
You can go over 9 hours.
Yeah,
you can go over 9 hours, and that's crazy.
Oh my gosh.
Well, I don't know how the hell we got off on this tangent here. Let's. But I think it's actually a really productive, interesting conversation. This is the stuff that I want to do on a round table one day. I want to get everybody's opinion, take. Should we do a round table week of WrestleMania? I want to. I want to know. I want to know.
I want to know now.
And CJ's with us. We don't need 7 bloody hours of pay-per-view, my guy. I agree with that. And we get that, and he's right. And here's another good point too. We get that 4 times a year with the big 4 pay-per-views now.
We do.
Like
that's
7
100% correct.
of stuff, and it's like they get worse and worse because there's only so much you can do, and they're not building stars.
Less is more. I always say that. So yep. I don't know.
Anyway, is there anything else that I missed on this show? God almighty. Ricochet versus Jinder Mahal. This was just fun. I like Ricochet.
Yeah, me too.
He did some fun stuff.
Me too.
Ricochet scares me to death when he does the 630 because all it takes is just one time not to get enough revolutions on it. I don't like doing moves like that constantly. Those are like specialty moves. I would save those for like big matches. That shouldn't be his signature spot every week. Okay, we have to finish him off with a 630 because it's just all it's going to take is one day. His foot slips. You know, you don't want it to be like some random friggin' house show match in Peoria where he slips and friggin' spikes himself on his head doing a 630, and he's moving extremely quick. There's a lot of velocity on his body.
Yeah.
So if he were to land that poorly once, there could be serious, long-lasting damage there. I think they need to reconsider that as his finisher and use it only for special occasions.
Agreed.
Not for a friggin' match against Jinder Mahal, even though it's a beautiful move, even though it's a gorgeous move.
Absolutely.
And he hit it, and he did hit it perfectly.
And it's well executed for the most of the time.
I'm literally, like, everybody's gonna think I'm a curmudgeon, but I'm literally thinking of the performer's health and safety. You know,
there's nothing wrong with that.
I don't think I'm a monster for that.
You're not a monster.
Baron Corbin versus Apollo Crews. Baron Corbin, who is having Kurt Angle's retirement match, lost to Apollo Crews, and then Kurt Angle came out and laughed. Cool. Just goes into more of my theory that Kurt Angle is losing.
Now,
losing.
I love Apollo Crews. Now I love his like whole demeanor. He's got that like suave, like confident, like I love it.
Yeah.
I really do.
Yeah. Well, I think we got through all of Raw. But we had a really interesting conversation here tonight about these.
What did everyone say about the round table? Did anyone respond?
I don't know if anybody responded about the round table. Yes, for the Quentin. Yes, for the round table.
Woo!
That would be a good idea. To be honest, that's something else. Daniel Shaw actually asked a good question. Are you saying Mania should be put into 2 parts? Yes, absolutely. The Saturday night show and the Sunday night show. Just think. If they did that this year, I would main event the Saturday show with Seth Rollins and Brock Lesnar. I would make that 3.5 hour show. Give some matches time to build. I can't tell you right off the top of my head what I would put on that show and what I would put on the Sunday show. I know my 2 main events would be. Saturday, I'm doing Seth Rollins versus Brock Lesnar. Sunday, I'm doing Rousey versus Charlotte versus Becky. And I don't think there's anything wrong with that. I think that gives people time to breathe. You know, it gives time to enjoy it, kind of time to digest things so things don't get lost. I would open up Saturday's show with Shane versus Miz and no holds barred. Sunday, you know, I have Triple H versus Batista on that one. I'm just going off the top of my head. I don't know. I'm just doing some stuff.
And you're not even doing like a SmackDown Raw.
No, not a SmackDown Raw WrestleMania. I'm just mixing up what could work, what could be the best matches. In fact, I think this would be a really good thing for Doug to do, maybe on Fancy Booking 101. Doug, how would you book 2 parts of WrestleMania with the card of this year? So I think that might be an interesting segment for Doug. You're welcome. We just gave him a little segment there. I'm also going to sit down and try to come up with a card. I'm gonna throw it up there on the Wrestleview Media page. And if you're not following us on Wrestleview Media, you should check that out. If you're not following this page on YouTube, click subscribe right now. Subscribe to us. We would appreciate that. Thank you for everybody for listening to us on Spotify too, by the way, and iTunes. But I think that would actually be a really interesting thing. How could we book a 2-part WrestleMania?
Yeah. Good idea.
And then kind of push, you know, I would have NXT still on Friday, and I would actually maybe do Hall of Fame on Thursday.
Smart.
You know?
That is smart.
So kind of good. Could be interesting if they ever did that, but that would take some major stones, you know what I mean? You know, gonna have some chutzpah. Yeah. Anyway, let's see. Did we change anything? Did we sway anything? 75% thumbs down still from Chicago. I guess they thought it was a little too much of the heels going over. Drew McIntyre goes over at the end. I guess they didn't like it too much. But there were definitely some things on the show that were like, oh, boy, this show was a long show.
So what's your initial vote on it?
Thumb down.
Thumbs down.
Thumbs down. But thumbs up for our show. Thumbs up for 30. Thumbs up for the people in our chat room tonight. It was a lively
30.
chat. And Jason F made it in. We got Fabgom 20. Plus both heavyweight title can be in the main event. I like that. Yeah. Yep. We have the best people that follow us and watch our show every week. We got the best helper, Billy Hefner of all time, the best of all time.
Absolutely.
Helping keep our show out there and promoting it all the time. Quentin Walters, our super fan. CJ Bowman just killing it. Always coming up with insightful things. And I do have CJ booked. I have something special going on with CJ that's in the Bruins. So
I don't even know about this.
Oh, you will. As soon as I press stop broadcasting, I'll tell you about it.
Oh.
Yeah.
Wait, does CJ know about this?
Yes, CJ knows about it. We have talked about it. Because
I didn't want him thinking, like, what is he talking about?
No. But, yeah. Good things coming up. Next week's our 31st show. We have 2 Raws left until WrestleMania, so buckle up. It's got to get better than this.
Hey-o.
All right. And with that, I am Mike Tedesco.
I am Victoria Tedesco.
Have a great night, everybody. We'll see you next week.
Have a great week.